Good morning, YouTube. It is Spiritual Sunday on the Wytches Lair, and I'm going to do a video that about what makes me feel spiritual. Um, Spirituality to me is about connection. I can feel spiritual in any aspect of my life, my day, my any hour. Whether I am inside, whether I'm outside, um, whether I'm alone or whether I'm with people. Um, if I'm with people, then I am looking for connection. If I am in nature, I'm looking for connection. If I am on even social media, I'm looking for connection. And spirituality to me is about connection, finding the common threads, finding how we're connected, how we're interwoven, how one action creates a chain reaction. If you change this, 15 things around you change and shift. That's why I chose the spiritual path that I chose, because, or I didn't choose it. I'll say it morphed every minute and every aspect of my life. It morphed. I learned from all kinds of religions before I truly said that I was a witch versus, something else. Because I was delving into everything. But the practices that I was doing was all part of basically Witchcraft 101. Since I was extremely young, I had an interest into what made people tick. I would observe them, and I would observe their emotion from incidences and events in their life. And I would make the correlations and connections between them. I liked doing that. I liked the human psychology, this human, the psychology of emotion, and how I started seeing connections between bad attitudes and events in people's lives. How I made sense of bad things happening to me. How I changed certain things from very early, from early observations, and through talks with the being that was always with me, that I communicated to from the time, from my earliest memories, probably as early as around 3 or so, somewhere in between 3 and 4 years old. That connection and that being that was always around me, I didn't lose connection with. I was able to continue conversations and keep up my ability to receive messages and influence of this being into my life. And I think that was where I made my connections to my spirituality. Like I said, as a young child, I was a Christian because that was what my family was, and that was where, at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you have no power over what path you're truly taking. You take the path that's around you. I explored different um, um, branches of Christianity in my teen years because these people they weren't connecting with me, and I was looking for connection, and I thought, okay, well, have to, do here, 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 there. I wasn't finding it. Um, but as a young child, I was also influenced by Buddha figures. I loved them. I had an affinity to them. I would give them as gifts to my mom, things like that. Um, so I started doing book reports on Buddha, that kind of thing. That was how I started my early research into other aspects of religions. I would find something, um, I would find a figure in history, and I would research them. I would research what they were saying, how they said it, how they did it. Gandhi comes to mind as one of those people. Um, Mother Teresa, watching her through the years, through the news, and the different things that she was doing out there in the world. There were many, many others, and it didn't matter what faith that they were in. Dalai Lama was another one. Um, it didn't matter whether I watched a movie that sparked my interest in a topic or whether it was a book I read that sparked my interest in a topic. Always ran with it, always researched it. Um, but all of that research, all of that stuff that I did, even as a young child, where my research was not as thorough or not as comprehensive because of my age, everything made a connection with me and everything made an impact on how I see things, how I view things. Um, so that's how I feel about spirituality, and I feel like it is always a something that I'm working, growing on. I'm always expanding. I always want to increase my influence. I want to find the common threads that run through, whether it be a shamanic tribe, whether it be a Native American tribe, whether it be um, Buddhism, whether it be Sufi, whether it be um, the difference between a Zen Buddhist and a Buddhist, the differences between Islam and Judaism, um, the mystic cults of Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. There's common threads in all of it. There are, and I was trying to take those aspects that you could learn about the secret societies and stuff like that, because those key concepts were the common threads were where a lot of the truth lied. And also that it looked to me like each individual standing on its own didn't have all the answers. However, it seemed like this one had this piece of the puzzle. That one over there had that piece of the puzzle. This one over here had another piece of the puzzle. Sometimes it was more about the aspect of, okay, I've learned this concept, but I'm reading it and I'm trying to put it into practice, but there's something not quite right. I'm not quite getting it. But reading a text from a different source, um, from a different, totally different, maybe religion, part of the world, culture, made it click. Not because they were telling me anything different, but the two ways that we layered the two ideas, the whole became more 3D, more active, more comprehensible. It helped to do that when you don't have a master or a mentor teaching and schooling you on it. That's you can only learn so much of the secret societies without actually being in one, because a lot of it is never written. It's passed down through tradition. One adept teaching the next one to be adept. So a lot of these things, they weren't written. However, you could piece them together. And learning different modalities of energy workings, learning different modalities of psychology, psychiatry, basic nutrition, science. If you want to know something about energy in your energy workings, where would you really truly go? Well, I went to science for, okay, if I'm building an electromagnetic energy field in my magic circle, and that's what you're doing when you're putting down salt and water and stuff like that. That is a conductant. So that's how you put power in a circle. But I wanted more. I wanted to know more about that. So how do you harness electricity? What are the conductors of electricity? Copper is a very good conductor of electricity. So I made my wands from copper and salt and sea salt and crystals and things like that. I wanted to harness more power. Okay, that raises electricity, but what raises magnetic field? It's magnesium. So sea salt has magnesium and regular salt, so it's electromagnetic. But to increase magnetic field, I use Epsom salt, magnesium salts. So there are ways to build that power inside your circle, but then I wanted to know how to harness and train my body to be the total instrument. And that meant that I needed certain things not to be deficient. There's where health comes into play. There's where supplements can come into play. When you're not eating as properly as you should, that kind of thing. To raise your electromagnetic field in your body, then you need a proper electrolyte balance in your system. Hydration becomes important in magic work. These electrolytes become important in magic work. Everything is connected. And like I said, that's just a little sampling of how I learned to take from everything that I learned. Every field is open to me. I look for clues and ways that I can use those information that I find and get out of books or out of documentaries, out of school, it doesn't matter where it comes from, it's everywhere. These fields of study, I learn historical patterns, how things come about, cycles, how the cycles happen. You go back in history, history teaches you cycles. If you know your history, then you can recognize the next cycle that's coming up in history. You can see it in your politicians and stuff. That's the importance of history. All of these things are all connected, but did school teach me that? No, school didn't really teach me that, but school had some of the fundamentals that I needed to learn, and it was there. But I think it was that my teachers were no longer truly adept as as to why um, the beginnings of education started with certain subjects and why those subjects were there. They lost that connection with why they were there. So they used to teach the connection of history and know your patterns so that you don't repeat the past patterns of past, so that you don't have to go through the negative stuff that brings about. History is doomed to repeat itself over and over and over again because it's a different set of individuals in a different time that are so far removed from the time before that they don't recognize how they're going about these same improper patterns. We elect the same type politicians over and over again through cycles of history. The pendulum is always swinging back and forth on everything, and that's what I watch. I watch the pendulum. I watch the pendulum in the energy of everything. There's a reason why certain tools are the tools of a witch. There's a certain reason why those tools are divination tools versus other kind of tools too. Everything has a connection, and that's what gets me so excited about being a witch. It's what gets me so excited about being a pagan. It's what gets me so excited about interchange of ideas with people, especially like-minded people, because they have pieces of information that I love to glean from them because it enhances my own path, and I don't care what path they're on. I love an interchange of these energies. Um, you can't help but to be morphed by every new energy that you come in contact with. And I like to see how those changes happen. And is it for positive or is it for negative? And when I see I've made a mistake because it looks like the person took a change for the worse after meeting me, I don't like that. I try to make amends and I try to not repeat that again through my lifetime. Because there's no way that everyone is going to like you, and there's no way that I'm going to like everyone. But there is a way that I can appreciate everyone, and I do. Um, every year I get a little deeper into understanding what unconditional love is. I get a little deeper into understanding what um, appreciation is, gratitude, um, even for the people that you may not like, even for the circumstances that you may hate, even for the energy drains that happen to you. All are powerful lessons of transformation for me, and I use them all as a tool in my practice to grow and to experience life at its best. And the sheer chaos of life, there's patterns that run through that chaos. You just have to kind of look at it. Every great change in my life has come with a great tornado of change and chaos and disruption. I've learned now that that just means everything is clearing. The things I no longer need are leaving. The things I need are moving in. And it's absolutely wonderful now. I find peace in the chaos and it doesn't bother me. The storms don't shake me to my core anymore. Can I get a little crazy at first? Yeah. As I'm starting to recognize that it's happening to me and stuff, yes, I can get a little crazy just like everybody else. But I've learned to stay more calm. I have been I've been the lighthouse in the storm for my family and my friends, and I like having been able to develop that. It's showing other people the way through that as well. So that's what spirituality means to me. Just a little bit of ramblings on that for the Witch's Lair. And I hope everyone has a great day and a very spiritual Sunday. Thank you.